That is the money chord, used extensively by Chopin, Mendelssohn, Rachmaninov, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Christina Aguilera, and basically any other composer of all musical genres. It is one of the most effective harmonic tools for composers and arrangers. So why does it sound so good? Well, there are two main explanations that unveil the effectiveness of this harmony. One is the standard explanation, and the second one I think is fascinating, so stay tuned. Let's start with the basics. What is this chord? Explained simply, this is the 4 minor chord. See, in a major musical situation, the 4 chord would normally be major. But in this case, composers make it minor, and it sounds great. People would rightfully argue that adding the 6th to this harmony is extremely effective. So, is this the 4 minor 6? Well, yes, but these notes are the same as the 2 minor 7 flat 5, which in major should be a regular 2 minor 7. If we use this 2 minor 7 flat 5, it sounds really good and it conveys the same harmonic mood or emotion. To summarize, in a major musical context, the chords 4 minor 6, or 2 minor 7 flat 5 are what some call the money chord. So why does it sound so good? Explanation 1. Modal interchange. In music theory, modal interchange is the practice of borrowing chords from parallel scales. Parallel scales are, for instance, C major with C minor and vice versa, or G Mixolydian with G Phrygian, basically 2 different scales which have the same tonal center, or in other words, the same notes that gives the feeling of going home. For the sake of simplicity, let's go back to the key of C major and see what we can borrow from C minor. If we look closely, we can see that this so-called money chord is basically substituting the subdominant functions, we'll get to that later, with its minor counterpart. As a matter of fact, in traditional music theory, this harmony is usually labeled as the subdominant minor. If we go back to modal interchange, this chord is the result of borrowing from a scale that is not the one where the piece of music is being rooted in. Hence, by introducing this chord from the minor counterpart, the happy major song or piece will get a melancholic tinge of sadness, which is very rewarding to our ears. Explanation 2. Negative harmony. This theory was first laid out in the book A Theory of Harmony by Swiss-American composer and theorist Ernst Levy, and recently brought back to light by jazz composers Herbie Hancock and Jacob Collier. Let's premise this by quickly explaining the 3 harmonic functions of tonal music: tonic, subdominant, and dominant. Tonic gives a sense of rest and home. Dominant is what leads you home. And subdominant can lead you both to the dominant functions, hence its name subdominant, or home, the plagal or Amen peaceful cadence. The most traditional and common cadence is the 5-7-2-1, as it captures what is the basis of Western music, the element of tension and release. By analyzing the notes of these 2 chords, we can see how the voice leading is at the basis of its effectiveness. The G and the B want to resolve up to the C, the D down, and the F down to the E. So there is a strong sense of polarity that wants the 5-7 chords to resolve to the 1 chord. Okay, but why is this important in explaining the 4 minor chord? Let's come to the understanding of what is the relationship of the major and minor scale. These 2 scales, hence its resulting harmonies, can be summarized by the T7I inversion. What the hell is that? This clock visually represents the inversion of these two scales around the axis of the tonic C and the dominant functions G, the pillars of Western music, and by inverting the E with the E flat, which are the two notes that define whether the C is major or minor. To prove this, let's see what happens if we invert the major scale using this clock. The C becomes G, the D becomes F, the E becomes D sharp, which is the same note as E flat, F becomes D, G becomes C, A becomes A sharp, which is the same note as B flat, and B becomes G sharp, which is the same note as A flat. Put in order, the notes below are those that make up the minor scale, and we achieved it because this inversion around the axis of the tonic and dominant, or third and flat third, is the catalyst that visually represents the minor-major relationship. Okay, so that's nice, but why is it important? Because if we take the 5-7 chord and put it through this process, we get the 2 minor 7 flat 5 chord. Or in other words, the reason why this chord sounds so good is because it has the same strong polarity to the 1 that the 5-7 has, but coming from a plagal resolution, or the opposite side of the circle of fifths. To put it even more simply, the 2 minor 7 flat 5 that we all love is the darker sibling, or the minor mirrored reflection of the 5 chord, the most important chord in Western music. Thanks for watching, and please like and share this video and subscribe to this new channel if you're interested in more creatively explained topics.